Hi guys, it's Robo here, and today I'll be talking to you about gearing up in 9.2 as Feral for PVE. So for the people who don't want to watch the entire video, I'll just quickly flash. There's basically three timings. Timing one is going to be during the first couple of weeks before you get double legendary, what you should be aiming for. A lot of the things that drops will be focused on M plus and PvP. So these are the dungeons that you want to run in the M plus column to fill out these slots. PvP is somewhat important as well because you want to get your tier. The items you actually buy from the vendor will be the 1 minute PvP trinket, which is pretty much your only guaranteed unused trinket that you can get. Followed by the cloak because it's got your best stats. So you can get this in week 1 mythic for the trinket, and then week 2 mythic for the cloak, and then by week 3 mythic you can possibly fill a ring or waist. But I'll talk about that in a bit more detail. So part 2, after you progressed a little bit, you'll get your double legendary. Chest is your biggest slot piece, so you can chuck your Knife A legendary in there. And your next biggest piece, if you run Frenzy Band, is your waist, which you can either put in waist or wrist. And then after you gear up a little bit more and you're moving towards your bis, you end up over here. You end up your bis. You have a legendary in your chest. You have wrist as Frenzy Band. You have a 285 belt. You have 285 in all slots that are available, and you have tier set up like this. So now I'll go into more detail of the different phases, and I'll also go through the dungeon journal. So, when you're gearing up, as I mentioned before, the choices of gear you have are pretty much M plus, which you can grind endlessly. Raid items, which are unlikely to be traded to you unless you do some giga splits, and in that case, it's only going to be tier. So you don't really have too much choice of what you can grab. In terms of tier, you obviously want 4 out of the 5 pieces. The best piece to have is your off piece will be the chest, and the reason for that is because the very first boss of the Instance Vigilant Guardian, which is also the easiest, will drop our Crit Mastery chest. The 2 pieces that you want are Anduin, Helm, Shoulder, Gloves, Legs. Even though the chest is high item level off Zerval, you're not going to get higher item level 1 until you actually finish prop. While you're in the process of getting your tier, you can still get 262 eye level off pieces from M+, which I definitely recommend because you can get Crit Mastery, Crit Burst. Your weapon as well, you want to get at least a 262 weapon from Spires, which is Crit Mastery. In terms of weapons from the raid, there's Prototype, Pantheon, and Zerval. I think a lot of people know what they're getting from M+. It's pretty much the same. The only differences are the two new dungeons. You can get Legs off Tazavesh Wing 2, Wrists off Tazavesh Wing 1, and you can get the new Trinket, which gives you whichever secondary that you would like, as long as someone in the raid has it, from Tazavesh 2. Or you can continue to use the Plagueful Trinket, which is still quite decent in 1 to 3 targets. I mentioned before PvP Trinket, it's quite good because a lot of your damage will now be every minute, so you have Convoke or Berserk and Convoke every minute. And that does really amp nicely with the 4 set. And it's relatively easy to obtain. So I'll just go through each of the slots, I think. And also talk about the vault. So if you do get the vault, even though chest is meant to be off piece, if you get it in the Great Vault, I recommend you do take it because then you can trade heroic and normal mode chests, and you're not going to replace that chest until very close towards the end of prog. It is worse stats than you would like, but it does enable you to trade tier chests for druids, mages, and hunters. I think it's hunters. So that actually enables you to trade items that are 1 week behind, as it were, because the last 3 bosses are not available for the first week. Shoulders, again, if you take it from the Great Vault, it's actually going to be lower item level. If you take it from the M+ cache, because it'll be 278 instead of 285. But again, it will enable you to trade some tier that's 1 week behind. It won't go towards your personal biz. If you want personal biz though, and you don't care about your raid, take legs or helm, because they have the large stats and they are you won't replace them. So personal biz you won't replace. Chest shoulders you will replace towards the end of prog, but it will open up trading. So now I'll just go through the slots quickly. Those of you, I'll go through the raid items because I think M+ is kind of covered already in previous videos. So if you look at, we'll start with head. As I said before, you want Anduin tier, but the off piece is crit versus which are good off Prototype Pantheon, which is going to be an easy boss. I think the boss order people will do is Vigilant Guardian, possibly Scolex, then Dusugni, Prototype Pantheon, and Lehuvin are the easiest. This is the easiest swing at the moment on PTR. Then Artificer's Zymox is quite hard. Halandris has been redesigned. And then last 4 are going to be probably this order. Raygon might be before Lords of Dread because it looks like a single side counter. Alright, head. Neck, you can get from neck you can get from Spires, or you can do Anduin Rin, Script Mastery for stats. Artificer's Zymox is okay as well. It's a bit of an earlier boss. Jailer 1 is okay, but probably give it to someone else who benefits from the haste. Okay, moving on to shoulders. There is Dusugni, which is a pretty early boss. Drops Bistats shoulders, so you can use that as off piece if you get it. Artificer's Zymox, a little bit too much for me. If you get it in its higher amount of law, you can still work around it. But you probably want tier here. Okay, and then moving on to Cloak, I think it is. Cloak, you can get one from Dusugni's pretty early. These two are trash, even though this one's higher. This is the one. This is actually the slot that I recommend you buy for PvP because it's already mastery heavy crit. Okay. And then like chest. Chest I mentioned before you get from the very first boss, so it's quite a good off piece. Wrist, there's nothing in here. Wrist, worst stats for us. Go M+. You're going to replace it with Legendary at the very end. If you get this, it's good for Guardian, I guess. Might be good for balance as well for the haste. But higher level, I think coming out of the previous tier, you should have 252 risks. You should have 252 risks with good stats with crit. So this is like 16 extra agility, but worse stats. And you might not have a socket. So possibly marginal to get this one. I would just leave it. You can get this from M+ though. You can get a 262 one from M+ if you want the 10 extra higher levels. Fish for socket. Specifically that one stats of extra wing 1. Okay, gloves. Hands. Terrible off piece, even though it's higher level. Just take tier. Or farm M+. M+ will be the other side. You already should know about this late into the expansion. Belt is Theatre of Pain or the Jailer. So Scolex actually has a good one too. So you can actually pick up a Scolex waste. And if you have the Scolex waste, you can consider crafting Frenzy Band down here. But I think 291 Belt Drink Prog gives you more stats on the waste slot than you do from upgrading this 252 or 262 Dungeon Wrist to 291 until you get the 285 belt. I think that's my general opinion. If it drops, you can run a sim. If it doesn't drop, you kind of know, just chuck your Frenzy Band in your waste for now. Okay, legs I already said is tier, and I think there's a first heavy legs from the raid. Yeah, from the Hooven. Either if you get that, I guess you can use that instead of tier. But then you're probably running a normal heroic chest, which might happen because you might take it from the vault. It's possible. Feet. It drops from Ralagon. You might be able to pick up a heroic one of this. This one, prototype Pantheon one's not too good. You can get a heroic one of this, which will be 272 eye level, I think. Otherwise, you'll be getting it from M+, which is also the other side. Okay, and then moving on to rings. Rings, we have good rings. The first boss, and Ralagon. They have the same icon. All the other ones, probably, I mean, you can't really give it to any of the people if you don't have higher level, but yeah. Another thing is, as soon as week 3 hits, if you've got the gold and you're willing to do it, you can actually equip a 291 in every slot. So 291 neck, cloak, everything except tier. Neck, cloak, wrist, waist, belt, 2 rings, and then all those will be tradable at 285 or lower for your raid. So your entire raid can start trading without, which is pretty decent. But that's week 3 mythic. Okay, and then it's fingers and then trinkets. So the trinkets I reckon you run. There's the Giga Jailer trinket, which is this one. Affix a rune to yourself, gaining power price, 30 seconds. I don't know if you can apply these out of combat. This one's a bit question mark at the moment. If you can apply these out of combat, apply the ones domination runes that you want, and then run the PvP on 1 minute on use trinket. Otherwise, if this is considered Gigavis, you run this and you run a passive one like File, or you run a passive one that you can apply outside of combat, which is the Tazavesh trinket, Soleil's secret technique. The trinkets that are in your control, you run PvP trinket plus Soleil's, should be pretty good with pure single target. You can possibly run Fire for small cleave. Soleil's also has the benefit of being able to run Mastery instead of crit if you want it for certain encounters, where you get extra combo points from the crit, from extra mobs, but you want to funnel, so you want Mastery. Okay, so I've run through the list. So yeah, basically here's the transition. First couple of weeks you're grinding M+ and PvP because you can't do anything else. You take what loot you can from the raid, that's acceptable, and you trade out what you can to your fellow raid members. Buy PvP trinket first. Buy a cloak if you can get it, and then you can start filling your non-tier slots from the vendor. This is from the conquest. Weapon you can get from Spires. You can potentially upgrade to 272 if you get super unlucky. I think it's 750 per week, so you might just get stuck with a shit weapon, especially since you're taking tier over weapon. Okay, then you transition across to something like this. So you got your tier pieces. You chuck your Celestial in the highest slot that you don't have tier if you don't have a good off piece. You put your Frenzy Band in your waist for now, and you just suck it up and have a crap wrist. And then when you get a good belt, you move towards Abyss again. And then now you have Frenzy Band moved in your wrist, and you have the Zerval 285 belt. So I think another thing to note is you have your boots in your you do have your boots either on legs. So you have your legendary slot in either boots or legs. Until you get the tier off Halandris. So you have that to consider as well. So you already have 262. So you will need boots eventually. So if you get a pair of boots, keep it. This has the stats, but I don't think it actually drops them anywhere for the rest of the 6 stars. I think it's on the just on the class set vendor, but I don't think anything actually has its appearance. If you look at boots, someone was asking me this the other day, so I thought I'd just check it out. boots, feet, and yeah, it doesn't look like it's anywhere. Oh, different icon. Glasses. One leather, two leather. Yeah, it's not. Not here, but it's on the vendor for some reason, so this is a cool belt. Maybe PvP things. Alright, thanks for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Hope everything makes sense, and good luck with prog.